But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith. It is Geordies here, Geordies there, and it's me, Mitch, Steve Hasty, Al Walid, Stu, George, and Steve Wilkinson who join you on a pretty busy day, it has to be said. And busy because we've signed Matt Targett now on a permanent deal, which will please, I think, the majority of supporters. Delighted to see Matt Targett. Made a big impression last season on loan, and great to see him put pen to paper on a 4-year deal. And the new strip is out. Which has caused a ripple, I would say, on the timeline. I think most of the panel, will find out anyway in due course, are more concerned about who wears the strip and not what's emblazoned on the front. But it seems that some of our fan base just enjoy having a bit of a row on Twitter and social media about sponsors, etc., and disappointment. But I'm delighted. And again, the transfer window not even open yet, but still lots of debate about who's coming in and who is going out. And of course, one person who has gone out, and we'll wish him well, is Isaac Hayden. Great servant of the club. Didn't quite work out for him last season. Another person who I feel was probably bruised in Steve Bruce's fantastic reign at the club. I mean, that's what he believes it was. We might as well start calling it that. But yes, Isaac Hayden off for a years-long loan to Norwich. We'll wish him all the best with a view to a permanent deal if things go well from down there. So good luck, Isaac. Thanks for everything you've done. And well done to Kieran Trippier. I don't think I'll be the only Newcastle fan who got a real buzz out of seeing a Newcastle United player representing England again, which is absolutely fantastic. Not the best of weekends for them, it has to be said. 1 point out of a possible 6. I think it's a ludicrous tournament for England to be playing throughout the summer, coming off the back of a busy season, but lots to talk about. So don't forget as well, the main man is with us, George. You can ask George a question at 6:30. I hope you're all enjoying those with the day's show. It's fantastic. It's a show where I just basically sit and say nothing, and George goes on and on about all the things that he knows about from that period, which is fantastic. So wait
till you hear Saturdays, Steve.
If you haven't seen the first two, tune in, because Newcastle were actually winning trophies. Yes, you didn't mishear that. Newcastle used to win trophies, and it could happen again. But yeah, 6:30, ask George. We'll pick the best questions out. So George, where do we start? Let's start with the incoming player, I guess. Matt Targett. We know all about him. We know what he gives. We know what he gives the team. Delighted to see him sign a permanent deal.
Absolutely, it makes a lot of sense on lots of levels. His value for money, good. If we got him for 15 million, then that's really good money spent in my way. But also, and just as important to me, that signing will go down well in the dressing room. You could see he was part of the group. You could see the way that the players, when they went round the field and after the last game, were all joining in and saying, "Oh, I'll be here next year." Even Bruno interrupted a television interview to say, "He'll be here next year. He'll be here next year." So that'll go down well in the dressing room. Goes down well for me because I think he's an excellent player, an excellent left back. Give us a good shout when he came in. He had no hesitation, didn't need any bedding in. He just showed what a professional he was. So I'm absolutely delighted. On the other side of things, it'll please his wife, girlfriend, whatever. I can't remember which one it is, who she is, but she was keen to stay in Newcastle. That was clear. She'd obviously made a bond with the wives and girlfriends of the other players. So that Matt Targett is for me a brilliant signing on value, on the dressing room, and his ability. So I've got no worries about that. That's really a nice signing for me.
Yeah, fantastic. It's great news. Steve Hasty, great news, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We've described him here as a solid 7 out of 10 every week, and that's what you need as a fullback. You need someone who you can guarantee will stay fit, will put a performance in, and you know what you're going to get the minute he walks out onto the pitch. So you know what, Eddie Howe will be absolutely delighted because he fits into Eddie Howe's model. He's a model professional, family man. He's all the things that Eddie Howe was probably as a footballer himself, you know. Just one of those people that a manager could rely on. So absolutely delighted for the club, delighted for the fans. delighted for the player, and I'm sure a 4-year contract is going to have a great 4 years, if not longer, at St James's Park.
Yeah, Al Walid, happy with that news today?
Of course, I'm happy, and that was the plan. But something along these 3 weeks that it make us feel or say that he's going back to Aston Villa. Aston Villa want him. Management want someone higher level like Lodi or something like that. We lived very hard weeks really, but all of a sudden everything happened quickly, and I believe I'm not just saying that, but I can't say that I can feel a game changer happen, or someone with a good decision maker, or he knows what he's doing, and that's Dan Ashworth.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. Stu, we hoped Matty Targett would sign on. That's one position sorted. I think there's been a lot going on at St James's Park over the last couple of weeks. Dan Ashworth won't have had a great deal to do with it, I don't think. But yeah, great signing to get Matty Targett over the line.
I agree with what everyone says. It's good for the squad as well. You can't have too much change in over one window, and it's another tick in the easy win section that Mitch refers to often, where if anyone who's watched Newcastle since January thinks that we shouldn't have signed him, especially at the price, he's a snip in today's market. He really is. So he comes in straight into the dressing room. So in effect, he hasn't left. We just have him now, and in a way, it frees up more money for other targets. If there was such a budget, he's less than other people would be linked with, which excites me because I've mentioned on a previous show about Aaron Hickey. I watched him as a 16-year-old play for Hearts in the cup final 3 years ago, and he can play with both feet. He played left back then. He played left back for Scotland in the second and last game, and he played right wing back in the last game. So someone like that, him to come and learn his trade off Targett and off Trippier, and you've got Dummett there as for 1 year at least on his contract. That's just my way of thinking. If we can get Hickey in for that 20 million, you've got Hickey and Targett for less than what Lodi was being quoted for. I think it's sensible, and you still need a British core who have an understanding of what it means to the fans as well, and that's what we've got with that Targett. So yes, of course, I'm really pleased that we've got him, and I'm glad that he's happy to be here as well, because by all accounts he's delighted, isn't he?
Yeah, we haven't beaten this phone thing. Before the show, everybody...
It might be me, I took... Is that better if I put that one in?
It's somebody's mobile as a signal comes through, and it's like that song that was in the charts years ago. Somebody answered the phone and it goes... It's like an old-fashioned interference on there, and I'm sure the viewers listen to it, and maybe it's just me, but I can definitely hear it, and it keeps coming through. So somebody's phone keeps kicking in.
It's not tinnitus, is it?
No, it's definitely not tinnitus, mate. No. Definitely not tinnitus. Dr. Neil can tell us. Is it tinnitus, Neil? Can you hear this noise, or am I hearing it?
I can hear it as well, lad. Yeah.
All right, well, that's good. Thank God for that. Matty Targett, Neil. Great signing. Happy with that.
Absolute no-brainer. At the price, fantastic. It lets us unleash funds elsewhere. Fits into the team. Already knows what's what. Did a really good job over 6 months. And I think Walid's hit on something there. If there was a hesitancy to come, has it just taken somebody like Dan Ashworth, who I'm sure we'll come on to talk about later, to sit down with them and say, right, what can we do for you? And such a contrast to have somebody there who can get inside the player's mind and say, right, what do you need? And how can we help you? Go back to the story I tell about Marcelino being effectively dumped in the middle of nowhere with no help at all. What we should be doing is having that pastoral back up there for players and their families to give them the reassurance that, a move to the northeast is a very good move. There's lots of lovely places to live, and it's a great place to grow up, and it's a great place for your kids to grow up in. Then you'll get contrary to certain individuals who talk about the goldfish bowl, that can work both ways. It means you've got support around you all the bloody time. Nobody will turn their back on you, and everybody will take an outstretched hand and do their best to help you settle in. So I think it's not insignificant on the back of Dan Ashworth coming in that the Targett deals wrap up, and now we can move on to the next one. And that sliding puzzle that I keep talking about now.
Sorry, I just wanted to say there. To me, I think Eddie Howe would have played a bigger part in it, because ever since he's been here, he's been working here. And his family's been down south, you know. And I'm sure he would have said, "Look, your career's short, and the opportunity you've got here is huge," you know. And I think you might have sold it that way. Look, I've done the same. I'm in the same boat, and you can get empathy that way. And you know, then look, I'll bring my family up, bring yours, and wives can get to know each other. There's so much behind the scenes that could get done there.
Career-wise, it's a massive opportunity because England don't have a left back at the minute. And on the basis of his performances at the end of last season, why shouldn't he be in the mix for that? Because he really should be, really.
A lot of people in the chat saying he should go to the World Cup.
If Southgate wants to pick 10 right backs and rely on Trippier at left back, that's just crazy. If you've got a left back who can slot in, hey, we could have the England full-back pairing going to the World Cup for play our cards right, you know.
Dan Burn in the middle replacing Harry Maguire. We're laughing, lads. We're laughing.
Somebody hasn't replaced him, for God's sake.
Callum Wilson up front.
Could be in jail. Go on, Steve.
Yeah, and Callum Wilson up front for England as well. I think I'm delighted, like everybody is. But I think the key thing for me is that it means we start. If we sign nobody else, we start with the team that got us to where we got to last season. That was, you know, arguably fourth top, but you know, forgetting about the blip at the beginning. So once Eddie Howe came in and the great run we had, so we start with the stability of that team, and all we're doing now is improving it. And I think that's one position that, yes, we can improve it. There's lots of positions we can improve, but it's not the priority position because Matt Targett's given us probably the best left back we've had for quite a while. I mean, when Dummett played, when he was fully fit, Dummett was pretty good. But I think Matt Targett probably goes equivalent to that, if not better. And so that's one position sorted now. And you know, as much as we're still say we're looking for a centre half or whatever. And obviously Trippier's back. He only played the last game. We'll start with a very solid back four that we've seen perform well in the second half of the season, and you know that's great that he's come in, and you know, look forward to seeing how he gets on.
Yeah, it's a good signing. Everybody in the chat seems very happy about it as well. Isaac Hayden leaving. We don't need to dwell too much on this one, George, but he was a good servant.
Absolutely. I think he had some unlucky periods of injury just at the wrong time. But I agree with your initial comments. I think he's another one that suffered under Steve Bruce. I think he seemed to be ignored, poor soul. I like Isaac Hayden as a player. He's certainly a nice fella. I mean, if you think of the problems he's had with his kids in the past, he stuck through that and stuck to Newcastle United when he could have easily been crying to be away to a southern club, but he didn't. So I wish Isaac Hayden well. And I think Norwich have done a good deal for the hopes of getting back into the Premiership because he'll serve them well. He's anywhere in the midfield, and Isaac Hayden will do a job for them.
Steve, you know, he was one of those players who stood up and was counted, you know, when the going got tough, and you know, he deserves the best wishes from Newcastle fans, and he certainly got that.
Yeah, he did. He stood up. He was counted. He stood. He put his stand there. But also a footballer with a social conscience. A footballer who supported the food bank right in the early days when we first set up NUFC fans food bank outside the ground. And he got it straight away. And within a matter of weeks, he was up there at the food bank at the Bede in the West End. And he was very, very supportive. And it was little things like that that helped to get the message out among Newcastle fans. So for that alone, you know, a huge thanks. I wish him well in his career going forward. He's only way on loan. God knows, he might come back. Yeah, he might come back a fully fit and fully refreshed player. But wherever his career's taken, I wish him all the best. That squad that Rafa had shouldn't be underestimated. The players that he had there that were willing to grind and dig in and get us out of that league, and the way that they did it, and there was a little core of them, and I know a lot of people have knocked some of them in recent times, but when we look back, we'll remember that squad, remember that group of players, we remember the lads that were in that team when we made the We Are the Geordies film, which is still available on DVD, by the way, and get yourself to watch it. super servant, super pro.
Yeah, great stuff. Fantastic films. Look, Albally, Isaac Hayden, he's off, and as Steve says, he could come back, but it's the first player out. I'm sure there'll be many more.
All players, Isaac Hayden and other players who will leave the club, they will not be forgotten at all. They are, as you said, a good servant, and really, I like Isaac Hayden, and in the first goal I see in Newcastle United game, it was from Isaac Hayden, and he really will be missed. But what to do? This is life, and we know that he know by himself he will not be in starting lineup. He will be substitution, and he will not get much minute to play. And in this time of his career, he must play. So it's a smart move, and nobody will forget. And if you from the message he left us on Twitter, you can't say that he's even if he's out, he was really this difficult times of Newcastle takeover. He was really a good soldier, great soldier.
A good soldier, Stu. Is that a good assessment of Isaac Hayden at Newcastle?
Yeah, he was one of those core of players that was in the Benitez squad. But if we have to be honest, and if we're going to advance the way we hope to and the way all us expect us to, he wasn't going to make the cut going forward. But he goes with our well wishes, best wishes, and I wish him every success. He was committed. We just talked about Matt Targett there. Hayden had a similar situation, didn't he, where his wife didn't want to move up here and he wanted to go down to the south, and he stayed. And I think for that, he deserves every respect. And there's the core, there was like him, Fernandez, Richie, Clark, and dare I say Shelby. They've probably reached their limitations with this club the way it is now. But every one of them should go. And it's nice to see that Shola's woke up and started getting these loans there organised as well. But to be honest, we'll be rich pickings now. There'll be a lot of clubs looking at us and our squad and the surplus members of our squad as well, thinking they'll do a job for us. And will Newcastle want that much money for them? They just want them off the books. So I can expect Shola to be really, really busy over the next few weeks. And rightly so. These players deserve a good move, and Norwich is a good club. They'll look after him. It's a good fit for Isaac Hayden. So, like I said, I wish him all the best.
Now, I often get wrong on this show for not giving Stu or Neil the chance to get their exclusives out. And then it's usually at the end of the show, people are going, what was Stu going to say? What was Mitch going to say? For God's sake. So, lads, while I'm speaking to both of you here, I'm just about to pass to Mitch. But Stu, any exclusives that you want to share with us before we close at 7 o'clock tonight?
No, it's went off there. I didn't hear that. I lost the reception. What did you say?
Any exclusives, Stu?
Well, I'm laughing about the amount of people on social media claiming that Gareth Bale is their exclusive from 2 weeks ago. I had this debate with Mitch on the views from the Middle East, and I was lambasted off Mick Lowe's. No, you don't want someone like him, and we gave every reason why we could sign him. Not that we're saying we would, and I'm still not saying we will. But what I will say is I know that he's been for talks. And I watched someone else saying Ericsson's having talks this week. Well, tough shit. He was having talks last week. So there's loads of things that you can say, and I'm reluctant to say it until I know so much. I did have an exclusive about Matt Targett, but the show's today, not yesterday. So I knew that he was coming. But the way I see it now, it seems to be like a competition who can claim it, and the best way to claim it is say it like we have on here, and if it comes out, it comes out. But I've learned not to say things that might be true. I'd rather say things that I know are true, and obviously protect the information or the source of the information, depending where it comes from. So yeah, there's plenty of people coming. I've seen something there that says Botman. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not here by this time next week. That doesn't mean to say he will be here this time next week. There's a few things depending on it, but it's exciting, and I can't wait for how the owners see our squad progressing. and where they see fit with the input of Eddie Howe, with the input of Dan Ashworth, and where they can progress. And I know Mitch and Steve have said many times they'll have a list of 3 or 4 people for every key position they want, and then they'll scratch it off. If that person doesn't match that, then if we get that one, we don't need that one, we'll go to the next one. We have the first one over the line, to quote Mr. Alan Pardew. And I think there'll be a flurry in the next week. I think this time next week we'll be sitting here talking about 2 or 3 more new additions. And I always smile when you say, "Oh, they've only got £50 million to spend." There's a certain journalist, to be credit to him, he was one of the first to mention Targett in the last 24 hours. He's also linked us that with Botman again this week. Now, that's over his budget already. So I don't know how we're going to sign anyone else unless we start selling players. So I'm just happy that we're talking about positives and incomings, and we're actually genuinely contending for quality players. And if I hear something, I share it. A lot of it with Steve and Mitch, and vice versa. But not everything that we hear, we see on shows like this, or we put on social media. It's not worth the hassle. You get like about 50,000 DMs, like, who was signing next? And I'm like, I'm sorry, like, my name's not murdered.
There was a campaign outside me, like a protest outside my house saying, "Get Stu on the transfer show on a Monday night," but I've had to ignore that because I don't want to upset Toon Tipster.
No, that was Lenny that started that protest, his dad.
I thought I recognised him.
It was Lenny started.
It was his mum and his dad.
No, I'll be honest, someone said it's nice to get that, but my reply was, I'm more than happy doing this show and helping out other shows and like the other shows that you put on, Steve, occasionally. But there's no way I could commit to doing 2 a week. He works and everything's too busy. So it's nice to be wanted like that.
It's great to have Joe. I think Joe's been a breath of fresh air.
He's been fantastic.
He loves the opportunity, and I think what I'd like to try and do is just get as many of these, people who were on Twitter, I mean, Loaded magazine, Loaded do it quite a bit as well. Just getting some of these different faces on to see what they're all about, because what we got out of Sean was different to what Loaded got out of him. And I think, just getting these people and putting a face to them, I think helps. And I saw a lot of positivity regarding Sean after the show. People will always say, well, he knows now, he's just saying this, he's just saying that. And he says, yeah, I do it for fun. I get a bit of information from here and there and I share it. But, he's learned how to cope with the trolls. But what I liked about Sean was he just gave his own opinion. And sometimes he'd be right, sometimes he'd be wrong. And it's why I have often, when I wasn't doing the podcast, I've ignored transfer window because it creates a storm. And for the last 14 years, it's been a negative storm. But this now, with us doing the podcast and with Newcastle being in the position they are now, it can only be positive because we're talking about signing players. We're not talking about, we'll get somebody over the line. We're talking about, hey, we're actually in the race for a world-class centre-half or a world-class centre-forward. This is where we're at now, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah, but
Steve, it should be what we're talking about. Sorry, Steve, it's what we're linked with.
I was going to say Newcastle's transfer window normally doesn't open until September.
Yeah, when it closes,
Shefty Coochie's no more. Mitch, look, we're talking about Hayden going. I mean, he was a good servant. I mean, there'll be others follow him out the door. But Albert pointed it out. The social media message he put out on Twitter was fantastic as well. It shows the connectivity once again somebody has had with our club from another part of the UK.
Like Steve said, the lad's a class act, and he always has been professional, proper professional, and he's going to a good club. With good people around him, you'll know Tim Kroll and Grant Hanley there. I'm quite sure Ollie Burton will go and have a chat with him because Ollie's one of the club ambassadors still. So there's connections between the club there and history there that I'm sure Isaac will be able to lean on and get sort of comfortable in Norwich's ranks, and I think it's a good signing for them looking to get straight back out the Championship. I think it's a fantastic signing. I think he did get a bit Bruce, and I think he's another one that Bruce didn't know where to play. A little bit like Kraft. Didn't know whether to have him in a more advanced midfield role or in a defensive midfield role or try him at centre back in a 3. It was sort of spin the wheel of fortune about where Isaac and Emil Kraft are going to play this week. So I think hopefully he'll find a bit of direction for his career as well now, because I think his injury was a bit nasty too. So he's gonna go there, have an opportunity at a full season, almost certainly with a lot of starts, and rebuild from there. Good luck, and thank you.
Steve, I don't think you can really, say much more than the lads have done. Just agree with them, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like we talked about Matt Targett, here's Hayden for me was another one. He was a 6.5, 7. He consistently, never the best player, but always steady. And I think he'll be the first of many going out on loan to the likes of Norwich. Norwich have been a yo-yo club for 5 years. They've gone down twice, they've come back twice, and no doubt they've got a decent manager in Dean Smith, and I'm sure they want to come back. So players leaving, I want to be getting into the sort of the Premier League equivalents, or those looking to get in the Premier League, and I think we'll get a lot of loan players, other players going out on loan. Dwight Gale, maybe Shelby, to that sort of level if they're going out. If we kind of get the fee for them, and I think that will be the case with many of them with the sort of salaries they're on and the length of some of the contracts left. A lot of them, if they don't want to play, will just sit on it. But I think players will want to play, and this is a good chance to go to the likes of Norwich and maybe Watford and the teams coming up from the Championship, like Fulham and Bournemouth.
There is no Mitch exclusive tonight, David. We did have an exclusive, but if the show had been yesterday, Stu would have been able to tell you that Matt Targett was signing, so apologies for that. Big shout out to our sponsor, Spider Miner, worldwide coverage from Gareth, Nathan and the lads. The only cryptocurrency miner that can mine 5 different cryptocurrencies at the same time whilst using virtually no energy, and the VPN protected. Buy yours now at www.miner.spidervpn.org. Thanks to the lads at skipsandbins.com, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3, email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, website www.skipsandbins.com, easy contract free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Thanks to L&G Family Funeral Directors, 01913897245, and a Garden of Healing Dispensary, CBD hemp and cannabinoid specialists, www.thegohd.com. Thanks to qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, Newcastle, and the guys who run our website, NUFCmatters.com. And thanks to ClearKai, meet the new Game Over screen, drop into a ClearRun device near you. Available on Apple Store, Google Play, and ClearRun.game. Thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the video side of things. If you want to subscribe, hit the Newcastle Legends logo in the bottom right-hand corner, and you can subscribe for free. Hit the thumb up to like the video, click share to share to your social media, and drop into the comments box to speak to like-minded Newcastle fans. You can also join the channel if you click join underneath the video, or you can become a member by putting your smartphone over the QR code. Takes you straight to the part on the site. If you do it that way, it's slightly more. It's a one-off payment, but you get a cup, a pen, membership card and a scarf, and entry into the monthly draw. And we're giving away a season ticket in about a week's time, or the cash equivalent, which is £1,000. So a big prize this month for all members. Do not miss out on that. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, and the rest. Usually goes up 24 hours after the show has finished. And if you are a subscriber, don't forget you can email john@nufcmatters.com and claim your free car sticker. We do support the food bank on this channel, and as always, NUFC fans, foodbank.co.uk matchday bucket is up and running and still available 365 days of the year. Make a virtual donation any day you want, any amount you want. It does help massively during the close season because, of course, there are no collections until the pre-season friendlies in July. We are having a summer do as well. NUFC Matters presents Mick Lowes and Andy Griffin Friday the 24th of June. Doors are at 7 o'clock. Tickets are £12, VIP 15 at Shearer's Bar at St James's Park. Going to be a cracking night, that one. We did have Andy Griffin on the show last Saturday. If you haven't already seen it, the show with Mick Lowes, give it a watch. Great to have him on. A little bit of insight into what him and Mick will be talking about in due course. And I think we've got 10 tickets left for this now. So if you haven't got your tickets, get them. We're drawing this on Friday. $2.99 a ticket to win Alan Shearer 260 dinner ball that was signed on the 7th of April at St James's Park. One of 260. Well worth a flutter. If If you're waiting to buy the last few, now is your time. And last couple of shouts for this on the show. I am doing a charity screening of my documentary, The Craze Gangsters Behind Bars, tells the story of my visiting of the Craze, my relationship with the Craze over a 10-year period, and basically includes me mum. Fantastic documentary, something which is in honour of me mum, but also all proceeds from the day are going to the St. Bede's Palliative Care Unit. There are tickets still available. So if you go to nufcmatters.com, go to shop and go to the 7th screen on the shop, it will allow you to buy tickets for £5. Thank you to the people who bought tickets who aren't coming, but just wanted to support the event. You can do that, of course, if you want. Just go to the website and do it. We're just trying to raise as much money as possible. And me and my brother are obviously doing different things at this moment in time to raise as much money as we can. And it looks like the total at the moment is around about the £2,000 mark that we've raised for St. Bede's Palliative Care Unit. My brother's doing the 5K Great North Run, which is fantastic. So thanks to him for getting involved as well. But thank you to everybody who has supported that. Okay, that is the end of the public service announcements. And it's now time to ask George. Raimondo likes to ask George. He got in quick with this one. He says, please ask George to settle an argument. A lot of people are saying Supermac was our first £100,000 signing, but I say it was Jinky Jim Smith. Google is no help at all. Can George help?
I think it was Jinky Jim Smith.
Definitely.
Yeah.
There you go. George, a man who sorts arguments out as well. You'll be on the door in the town next. Tom Dixon, ask George, what is the biggest transfer that got you excited whilst watching Sky Sports News?
There's very little that excites me in Sky Sports News because half of them I want to give them a smack on the nose, but never mind, that's another issue.
So he's getting into dormant mode already.
I think there's odd ones that have been a surprise, even to me, that have come out on Sky Sports News, and I'm trying to think which one is the one that I can think is the best, but
could be Shearer.
Was Sky Sports News around then? That's one I was thinking about, but I think we had an inkling about Shearer before Sky Sports News got it, though. No, I think it's a one which excited me at the time. It was a huge disappointment, and that was Michael Owen. I mean, the thought of Michael Owen and Shearer getting tied up together in our forward line was absolutely exciting at the time. Little did we know what was going to happen, and how disappointing it was. And now we've got Michael Owen on our screens for another reason, because his daughter's on Love Island.
I was just going to say, for younger viewers who maybe don't know who Michael Owen is, his daughter's Gemma Owen, who's in Love Island, and good luck to Michael Owen on that.
Well, there was a good picture of her being carried around the ground by Michael Owen the other day. I
was hoping, George, you were going to say that, not the pictures that are circulating on WhatsApp.
No.
Emmett Griffin says, ask George what's the best home strip that we've ever had.
Oh, I'm a traditionalist. It's the old-fashioned stripes and with the grandfather colour, I think is the best. I would say the traditional black and white stripes. No messing about with the stripes. Last season's strip was all right, but I couldn't get away from seeing everybody wearing a number 4 on their chest. It was distracting,
They've got away from that. We'll get to that next. Last question, then. I think this is the last one. Yeah, it is. Geordie Tuber says, question for George. A load of balls, really. What does George think of the change of ball in professional football? Yes, I played with laces in the ball. Ouch.
Well, the positive thing is that the laces gone. Yes. Yeah. But what does bother me is that I'm not sure what they're doing with the materials and all the rest of it. The balls seem to fly too much for me. They're not always true. That's what bothers me more than anything. But the fact that there's the laces gone and all that sort of thing is great. I mean, I remember the days when the trainer at St James's Park used to come on, and he had his water for his sponge in a burst bladder from inside a football. Never mind the ball. So that getting rid of that. But I do think. The ball, it worries me that the balls don't seem to fly as true as they used to. It may be a combination of ball and the way the boots are made now, because I know a lot of the Adidas boots have special surfaces on so the players can spin the ball and float the ball and this sort of thing. Maybe that's to do with it as well. But bye-bye lace and all that sort of thing. I think it's a great step forward.
I'll give the last Ask George question to Blind Man's World. Give him a sub. He's just started off on YouTube. He's doing a few interviews on there, different people, different times. Great guy. Ask George if he thinks we've got the potential to find another Shearer, he says.
Yes, must be. We're due one. And I've got to say, if we could find an attacking player as good as the young midfielder we've got, Elliot, it's... Elliot Anderson. I mean, that would be fantastic. But I'm sure there's the potential there to find one. We've got an Irish centre half, which bodes well for the future. We'd nice to see some attacking players as well. Who knows? With Dan Ashworth now being able to, spend time doing that sort of thing, that might be the next big surprise.
Yeah, it could be. Okay, thanks for all your questions. We've got through as many of them as we could. We've got other things that we need to discuss, namely this. And I'll start with you, Steve Wilkinson, because we've just spoken to George. The new strip, I've got to be honest, I like it. It did cause ripples on social media, though, because Fun88 are still the sponsors. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. We've got enough money as it is. New sponsors can wait. There'll be other things, I'm sure, sleeve sponsors, etc., will be forthcoming. And, we'll get a new sponsor when we get a new sponsor. But I'm more concerned about who's going to be playing in it. But that's quite a snazzy top. And on the back, of course, it has, or on the shoulder, sorry, it's got 130 years as well. So it's nice. It's basic. They've taken a little bit of inspiration. This Pastoral have said in their press release from previous strips. I love the colour. What was your take on it, Steve, when you first saw it?
I think nice width of stripes, plenty of them. My fear was always we were going to drift maybe under the Ashton lead to like Southampton, which is sort of got some stripes and a lot of playing. And I feared us drifting under Ashley towards something like that. But we're back to sort of reasonable, typical size stripes. I'm not a great fan of the round collar. I like a different sort of collar. The Grandad one being the favourite, even though that was kind of round, but it was a button there. The fact that Fun88 is on, the latest I've heard is where they're looking to finish that contract at the end of this year. I don't understand why people got paranoid. It was pretty clear that they had a contract, and it knowing Ashley, it would be for a length of time that wasn't necessarily to coincide with what's happened, because we didn't expect it to happen at the time it did. So it was always going to be something for the new owners to get either end that contract or just let it run out and find a way. And I'm sure that's what they've done. So it isn't so prominent now because it made the 4. It was really the logo that made the 4, and I didn't like that last year, but I like this year, and I'll live with a round collar. But I'm waiting to get I might not buy this one, but I'm waiting for the white and green one to come. I'll get one of them.
Yeah, some of those websites have already got that green and white shirt on. I won't put the websites out on yet, but yeah, I've already seen them and they look really good. Mitch, your take on that new strip that's come out today?
It's not an abomination. It's black and white stripes. We have this argument every year. Then everybody gets over themselves and they start to buy it. I take that colour as more like the First Cup kind of colour, and maybe that's where they've looked at it. I think the Fun88 looks better than it did on the previous years, because it isn't, you can't see that number 4 with the buttons and what have you. And I think it's clear now why initially we were seeing kit with no sponsorship on at all, because they were obviously trying to work a deal out with Fun 88, and that deal's been worked out, and it's going to run for another year. And I'm sure there's many other sponsorship opportunities coming in this year, and then more besides. And it's probably thought out with FFP and growth in mind. So, you know, it is what it is. I think, like I say, it'll be bought in numbers. It's a nice traditionalist shirt, I think. And I'm excited to see what the green and white one in particular looks like myself.
Yeah, me too. I think that's the highly anticipated one, Stu. But the black and white one, it's an old favourite. I think they'll break records with all the shirts this year because a lot of people, you know, who continue to go to the games just refuse to buy shirts, you know, just purely out of principle. Certainly over the last 4 or 5 years, I never bought one for 10 years, a replica shirt, even when they were in the discount aisle. I wouldn't buy one. I just didn't want any money going to Mike Ashley at all. You know, cut your own nose off to spite your face, call it what you will. But for me, I will start buying them again. They're always handy for like holidays or days out or whatever when you're out and about. But what's your take on the design?
I like it. I think it's a nod to the Superback era, with the way the collar is. And obviously, it's black and white stripes, shock horror. You know, it's Newcastle, of course, it's black and white stripes. But it's plain. You can call it basic or traditionalist, but it's nice that sometimes you can try and snazz things up too much. And I like the simplicity of it. And it's just, to me, it's a statement. We are Newcastle United, and I think we can give a nod to Historia because they've had loads of stick, but it shows that they've listened. You know, with the number 4 and stuff like that. It shows like, okay, let's hear what people are saying and see if we can produce something that's good. Then, in regarding the sponsor, no one knows because it was a long-term deal. Did they buy them out? Did they not buy them out? But, you know, we could win the Champions League 3-0 in a few years' time, and people will say, still not be happy. We should have won 4 or 5-0. You know, so you're never going to please everyone, and they should stop trying to please everyone and try and please themselves and take this club forward because they'll only stagnate by trying to fit everyone in. So if you look at the names we've had on our shirts over the years, Greenhalgh's, a defunct brewery, Northern Rock, a defunct bank, Wonga, a money lending company, Virgin, you know, another money lending thing. And now we've got a gambling company. We're not the only club to have it. My biggest concern, and I've heard this with Steve and Mitch, is the fact that the club have authorised the white and green shirt, which is obviously aimed at the market over here in the Middle East, because you can't put the gambling shirt there, the signs on there. So I think they've either missed a trick or it's been an oversight, but no one's going to be perfect unless they come up with something different and have an away sponsor instead of a home sponsor. We've done it before with Brown Ale and McEwen's Lager, but that was the same company. So there is ways, and we have the best lawyers in the world. They'll find a way if there is to be a way. But if it is to be Fun 888 and it's just going to be a white shirt with green trimmings without the sponsor sold over here, I think they've missed the chance because I know you've heard us say before, the competitiveness of the region is something has to be first, biggest, best, fastest. And if they then bring one out next year with, for example, a Saudi sponsor, it's like, yeah, it's just like that one, but it's got this on. So, again, in my own opinion, if they are to change this next season, change the sponsor, and it will be a Saudi-based sponsor, then I can imagine the waist strip being all green with white trimming, reverse of what we're seeing the captions of now. Again, that's all hypothetical. That's just my opinion, living here and dealing with Saudis daily. Hopefully they sell it without the sponsor on over here, because it will sell. And I'm talking tens of thousands. Yeah. As you know, I was there last week in Saudi, and I had my Newcastle shirt on, walking around one of the malls. So the amount of interest I got last week in comparison to what I'd had on previous visits, it shows people are now sitting up taking notice. And it's only going to get bigger and better for us. So we should just enjoy it. Let them do what they need to do. We just cheer the 11 people wearing it on the pitch.
That's all that matters, really. £65 as well for the new top. Slightly more if you want one of the actual tops that the players will wear. £105, I think, on the website for one of those ones that sticks to your physique. Got to be of a certain type to wear that. Maybe somebody who goes into Love Island. So none of us will be buying that one, I don't think. If you like the top, why don't you hit the thumb up underneath the video? That's a good suggestion. If you like it, if you don't like it, hit the thumbs down. But if you like it, stick the thumb up. Albert, your thoughts on the top?
I will tell you, but when is the the second, the away and the third will be in the market?
I don't know, but they usually stagger them, don't they? But they're not too far behind, I don't think.
I thought it's come at once. It's a great shirt, look a classic. Love the shirt. Regarding the sponsorship, I understand Fan 88. Well, he really, I respect him for that, because it's opportunity. No amount of money. I think it's enough to make them walk out, because they want to be in the shirt. Now Newcastle, all over the news, all over sport news over the world. It's big opportunity for them for advertising, and they will not let that go. So we're not in hurry. Coming years are coming, as long as we, and for me and for most of the Saudi fan, as we have the takeover, and it doesn't much matter about. And as you said, Steve, it's the money is there. It's not we're gonna depend. It's just some design and some different look as we expected. And also there was evidence that there was a fight and trying to change, but it didn't happen. But it's now I'm very happy we sort this out, because all what him care about is the signings.
Yeah, that's all we care about. You're right there, Al Walid. Definitely agree with you on that. Steve, £65 for the top, is that reasonable?
Well, not really. No, it's ridiculous price to have to pay for a piece of polyester that's probably valued at £2. I suppose that, bearing in mind what you said earlier, Steve, the last time you bought one was $29.99. So
yeah,
that shows you how much they've gone up.
And I got a cellophane bag free.
Exactly, aye. Instead of paying £1. But you know what? It looks clean. I know that sounds silly, but it's a clean look. It's just plain black and white stripes. It's nothing flashy on it. There's no zigzags. There's no shadows. There's no shadow image behind it, or as we've seen with other kits in the past, especially with other clubs. I just kind of get away from that big number 11 down the middle. I'm just staring at it. I mean, you lot can see number 4 that I couldn't see, but now I can see a number 11, and it's going to drive us mad all season. But no, smashing. And I think talking about the sponsors, everything's been said. I think the fact that a couple of weeks ago we saw the blue Pastoral sign, I think that was the giveaway for most people with a brain. They realised, well, hang on, that's the Fun 88 colour as well, and that's the way it works. And interesting with that is what Stewie's now saying, because potentially, let's see if on an away strip we have a different sponsor. Let's see if the club goes down the Manchester United line of having different sponsors on training kit, different sponsors on over kit. All of that type of thing. There's plenty of opportunities there if you've got a good marketing team with a good marketing strategy, and you've got good people out there who can actually go ahead and exploit what is now the brand of Newcastle United on a whole range of different clothing with a range of different sponsors. And the same goes for around the ground, around the suites, around the stands, and in the training area. So sponsorship opportunities are not just something that's going to be emblazoned on a shirt. So, we shouldn't get too hung up about it. But no, it's a shirt. It's black and white. Thank God. It's not red and white.
Yeah, it's not red and white. George, at least you don't remember the days when we had a red and white strip. We can't go that far back.
No,
but the black and white looks great, doesn't it?
Steve said it, clean, traditional, proper black and white. It's fine. I noticed on one of the feeds on the bottom, somebody said the players that had an involvement and asked for a transfer badge rather than an embroidered badge, because the embroidered badge irritated them. If you go back to the strip that Charlie Minton, our former manager, designed, which I did have the honour of wearing, that was a pain, absolute pain, particularly the socks, because it had black and white striped tops instead of a white top. It was a white sock with a black and white striped top that folded over. But in those days, they couldn't make the sock in one, so they had to stitch the top onto the bottom. So it made an edge around your leg, and that was bloody painful, I can tell you. So no, great. I love the strip. Yeah.
What I would say with that, George, with a badge, I think that's purely speculative on some people's behalf, because quite honestly, the vast majority of players now wear an undergarment which holds the little bits underneath.
That's
so
true.
all this
That's
business
true.
of it rubbing and causing an abrasion. Yeah, if you're going to do the North Running one, fair enough, but not the way modern players. Every player wears a garment that holds a little. Back to keep a monitor of how they're going. So I think that's just somebody on Twitter making something up and throwing something aside and trying to get us all to believe, as happens with an awful lot of other things, because we've got some fantastic imaginations out there.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with an imagination, though, and we'll finish off on this one, which, of course, a little bit of cut and paste happened in January when people were hoping that Botman would sign for Newcastle, George, but he looks good in that black and white strip, I've got to be perfectly honest, and the Twitter sphere has gone absolutely mental tonight. Luke Edwards breaking the story, saying that Botman is close now. Look, that would be a hell of a statement, George, if Newcastle United could beat AC Milan to a centre-half like that.
A statement in so many ways, but yes, that really would be a fantastic signing for us in all those ways. To beat AC Milan is something, but on the other hand, that's where we've got to be. That's where we want to be if we're going to be up there with winning things. And that would be a great sign. I'd love to see him come.
Yeah, Tom, you're right. He won't wear that shirt, of course. That was done in January. But it's built. The transfer window is building up momentum, and we're not even properly open yet, Steve. But we're doing these. It looks as if we are going for the right targets, if you excuse the pun, with the sign we've made today. But Botman again will be a big statement, and if they can get the first choice centre forward through the door as well, Hugo. It's going to be quite a week for Dan Ashworth's first week involved.
Yeah, or second or third, depending on when you heard that he was here. But
fourth month involved.
But you know what? Botman. I mean, he's the jewel out there, isn't he? That the agents have got their hands on, that are trying to sell around the whole of Europe, and AC Milan interested, and that says an awful lot. Winners of Serie A. But if Newcastle United are in for him, then that shows you the level that we are at. If we're on a par with AC Milan. We're now probably in a situation where the clubs have agreed, whoever wants them, there's a fee being agreed, but now it's up to the player, it's up to the agent. And the same with Ekitike, it's a case of, right, once you agree on a price with the club, you then start to have to negotiate a price with a player, his mother, his granny, somebody down the village, the bloke who runs the post office, etc., etc. They all want a little bit. And it'll be exactly the same with Botman, and the agent as well, of course, will want his 5 penneth or slightly more when it comes to Botman and Ekitike. But no, I mean, somebody said that it could be quite a week, and it's getting close. Luke Edwards thinks it's getting close. Perhaps might be even closer by the weekend. I don't know. Perhaps Stu might agree with us and Mitch, but he might be a little bit closer than people imagine.
Yeah, Alwaleed, would you be happy with Botman coming in? It's one of those names that was mentioned in January, but Newcastle keen to get business done early, it seems, as well.
It was still a long time we read about Botman, and the club obviously didn't quit on that yet. So that's why I feel it's going to be happening, and. Because we see some players, for example, Lingard, the club pull off or quit the negotiating. But with Botman, it seems the club is so believe that we'll get the sign of Botman. I started in a couple of weeks. I read tweets from Italian journalists and some Italian fans, and I noticed they until today they said he's close to Milan. So this fight between Milan and Newcastle, it's very tough for us as a fans. But hopefully, I'm happy that if the club's still negotiating, that means it's big chance to happen, and hopefully will happen soon, as you said, guys.
Yeah, big shout out to Tony Lee, the Man United fan in the chat. Clearly very bitter about what's going on in our transfer window. Good luck with your lookalike Steve Wraith manager. Stu, it's Botman. Botman, who Newcastle seem to be pushing for in that centre-half position. Let's hope it gets done, eh?
I hope so. Like I say, this time next week, things will be a lot clearer. And remember, the window doesn't open until Friday, I believe. So we can't officially sign anyone until then anyway. So I think the way the club are doing it, they're speaking to people, sounding them out. It's all right throwing money at people, but that's what Everton did. They've got to understand that these people want to come to us.
Yeah.
Are they invested in Newcastle as in the project and the potential it's got, or are they interested in doubling the wages? And we all know Eddie Howe is very big on the squad, on the team ethic, and rightly so. And the club will grow, and it'll grow at a pace that we witnessed in the 90s. It will grow that quick, but they'll bring the right players in for the right positions, and we're not going to get every target that we're linked with. But the fact that we are linked with them is amazing, And I'm just smiling because someone said something about Luke Edge once, but when he says something negative, he gets trashed for it, and we say something positive. Oh, it's got to be true, It's like, which one is it? So I don't like swearing on YouTube, but it's the old story, like you throw enough shit in the wall, someone will stick.
He sensed these bets the last couple of days, mate. It's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. He's going to be right one way or the other, isn't he?
Oh, of course.
That's what journalists do. It's what journalists do.
They're there now. They're not journalists as they have been in the past. They get paid and they retain their job. It's their livelihood for getting clicks. That's how newspapers are run nowadays. People don't want the ink on the figures. They want to read them. So take it for what it is, that they have to go for the shock value. It's similar to your soap operas. If it was just about really boring day life, not many people would watch. So you've got to have your car accidents, your train accidents, your divorces, and the affairs and everything else. That's what gets people watching. But Botman, I believe, is a genuine, realistic opportunity of that happening. It's close to the window opening. That's what I'm hearing now. Whether he signs it up, people can record it and hang us from a nearest lamppost if they want. But that's something that we should. If that's the type of player that we're interested in, that's the type of player that's going to take this club forward. And if we don't get him, the next person on the list will be just as good. We've got to trust the process and just accept. Sometimes we get too excited and get carried away. We want everyone, but not everyone want us. We can't offer them the European football yet. We can't offer them the Champions League. You can sign for a Man City or a Liverpool and be quite certain that you're going to win a trophy, or a Bayern Munich or something like that. Newcastle can't offer that yet. They can only offer potential and promise. And the one thing I will say is those who do turn us down this window that we really, really did go after, I think they'll regret it over the coming years, because we are just going to rise and rise and rise. And those who jump on board will get all the credit for it. Fair play to that.
Mitch, no. Botman, we've already got a song for him.
Absolutely.
Do you think it's close?
And anybody wanting to sign Robin to go alongside, and you're forgetting if he plays alongside Dan Burn, you've got Botman and Superman standing together, so you're all good. And you said, did I have a little exclusive? I do have a little exclusive, something I'll elaborate on to Steve and Stu later. Mid-Hat's back.
We're keeping that for Friday. Because I want to talk about Henry Morris on Friday as well.
All right, okay, yeah, keep it for Friday. Then, yeah, no bother. But I had a
M63.
I had a conversation with a different Steve, which Stu and Steve and yourself will know who I'm talking about today.
Yeah,
regarding the Derby situation, and I got an update on Mid-Hat as well, quite amusing.
Look forward to that. That's 4 to 6 the Amigos on Friday, by the way, slightly earlier, because I'm doing an evening for the Heel and Toe charity in Gosforth. Guess who with? Paul Merson.
Paul Merson, yes.
So anybody's got any questions for Paul Merson, get them in on Friday. I'm sitting at a table with him for 2 hours before I introduce him on stage for him to go and earn his money. So anybody got any questions, Newcastle related, make sure you watch the Amigos. The Gosforth Park, whatever it's called now.
Right.
All right, don't come over. Didn't see you.
No, I might send someone out to see Paul Merson.
Steve, we've only got 2 minutes left, so I'll come to you just for your views on Botman, mate.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's the level of player we want to get and quality, and I think word will get round. It's sort of international games going on, and I'm sure players are talking to each other about what's it like at their clubs at the moment, and I'm sure the word's getting out, even though we haven't got that many players in the international circuit in Europe. Those that are, word will be getting round that things are promising, and they'll see from the results and the fact that we've got likes of Trippier and Bruno in so far, and things are, everything's good, and I think any player, unless he's desperate to get into the Champions League, and Botman is only 22 or 24, can't remember. He's got plenty of years left, and you would think that he'll get as good money here as he would anywhere else, I'm sure. And if they like the project, then I think why not would you come here? And I think I'm hopeful that he'll come.
Yeah, me too.
Can I just say as well, Steve, and just say what's interesting is we're going for Botman, we're being linked with Botman, Ekatike. You look at the age, that's youth. But they're looking at the youth, they're looking at moving forward. I wouldn't be surprised if we also got some experience coming in, because it's all well and good but we'll need a blend. So youth at the moment, and then they'll move on to experience. That's the way I'm seeing this transfer window spinning out.
Great
Ericsson.
stuff. The hours
for that one. Ericsson for that one.
Well, fingers crossed. We'll see. Plenty to talk about that. I've got to go because I'm jumping on another show at 7:05. The crazy world of YouTube. Wow, what a week this has been. Plenty to discuss on there. So if you like all the YouTube drama, then jump on in 2 minutes. I'll be on with a few guests and talking about what's been going on in the crazy world of YouTube. I'm back tomorrow night with Super Mac on his Todd. 6 o'clock, me and Super Mac taking your questions. Gibbo returning from holiday tomorrow. He just didn't want to take the gamble. So 6 o'clock tomorrow night for that. And don't forget, slightly earlier time of 4 till 6 with the Amigos on Friday night. It's a thank you to Al Walid, Steve, George, Stu, Mitch, and Steve Wilkinson. Thanks, lads. Take care. See you next week.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, everyone.
Night, everybody. Night.